Hello, and welcome to today's video. My name is Sandra, known as gain_strength_ on Instagram. Today's video is a week of workouts. I'm actually going to work out downstairs because I ended up working out yesterday, which was a Sunday, and I don't typically work out on Sundays. Sunday is my complete rest day, but I worked out with a friend yesterday. We did legs, which my normal workout week starts Monday with legs, quad focus, then I do a push day, then it's legs again, but hamstring focused, then I do a pull day on Thursdays, and then Friday is kind of like a combo of glutes and shoulders, since those are the two muscle groups that I kind of want to focus on right now. Yeah, I am training legs 3 days a week, but so far, and I started this at the beginning of the year, I've been fine. I've really liked it. I've really enjoyed it. I used to do it in the past, but the way that I structure my workouts now is so different than what I used to structure it. I used to do like a ton of exercises, just junk volume at that point, whereas now I think I'm more dialed in onto exercises that actually help me. Today, Monday, is going to be actually push day. So push day would be exercises that target your chest, your shoulders. I do like to include some triceps since I don't have like a dedicated arm day. Basically push movements, but I'm going to do it downstairs because Monday, as we all know, is National Chest Day at the gym. So that means by this time now it's like 4 or so, I won't find any benches at the gym. So I'm just going to work out downstairs. I always start my workouts with some cardio, just 10 to 15 minutes on the treadmill. But because it is gorgeous outside, I'm actually gonna go on a quick walk with Claudius, and that's gonna kind of serve as my warm up for my cardio instead of being downstairs with the treadmill. Because you gotta take advantage of this weather. You wanna go outside for a walk? Oh, big stretch first. You good? Let's go. All right, time to work out. We are going to start with a dynamic warm-up. So before you start, there's a lot of controversy about stretching or not stretching before your workout. If you are going to stretch, make sure you're doing dynamic stretches. That's stretches that you take your body through a full range of motion versus a static where you just hold the stretch for 30 seconds or so. So if you're going to be stretching, make sure you're doing a dynamic stretch. So let's get started.
Welcome to my first ever week of workouts YouTube video. So, like I said, we're going to start with some dynamic stretching. I recommend that you guys get some sort of resistance bands for your warm-ups. I actually prefer these versus using dumbbells, but again, it's up to you. As long as you do some dynamic warm-ups before your workouts, that's what's important. Now for upper body warm up, it usually takes me somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes. So find a routine that you find helpful, that you feel benefits you. Really what you're looking for is to start warming up your muscles, start getting your heart rate up, and basically preparing for the workout. From there, we're going to start with some bench pressing. I like to start with compound movements first, and the first couple of sets are, again, just warm up. In this case, I use just the bar and then I'll add some weight. One of the benefits working out at home is kisses and cuddles from Claudius. Even though he hates it. Kind of. You'll want a slight arch in your back. You don't need the exaggerated arch that you see powerlifters do if you're not a powerlifter. So have a slight arch in your back, and you'll want to tuck your shoulders, and doing so, you'll bring your shoulder blades together in a way to protect your shoulders during this lift. A helpful tip regarding hand placement is use the grooves or the rings that are on the bar so that you know that your hands at an equal distance from each other. All right, next up, we're gonna do a seated shoulder press. We're gonna do 1 warm-up and 3 working sets. You can have the bench at a slight incline or at 90-degree angle, but I feel like having a slight angle helps my shoulders feel a little bit less uncomfortable. So it's up to you, play around with it, see what feels better for you. And when you bring the dumbbells down, make sure your elbows are pointed slightly inward at an angle, not straight across at a 90-degree angle. Your feet should be flat on the ground. Make sure you're bracing your core. It is very important because you are pushing weight above your head, and although you are sitting down, you could still get injured. So make sure you inhale in through your belly, tighten up your stomach as if someone was gonna punch you, push up the weights, and as you bring it down, you can exhale. All right, now decline the bench a little bit more because we are moving into incline dumbbell press. This is gonna target your chest. Again, you'll want your elbows pointed slightly inward, not directly across into a 90-degree angle. You're gonna bring the dumbbell down until it almost touches your shoulder. Again, remember your core, brace your core, guys. Don't forget, inhale in through your belly, not just your chest. Tighten up your stomach. Again, imagine someone's about to punch you in the stomach. And then as you push the weights up, you can exhale. Feet flat on the ground again. Next up, we're gonna do my favorite exercise, lateral dumbbell raises. Now keep in mind, this exercise is harder than it looks. And you're like, oh, this is very easy. Chances are you're doing it wrong. First of all, your body should not be moving too much. You want to have minimal body movement because you're working your shoulders. You're not using momentum. You're not swinging your body to move the weights up. So keep your form in check. Okay, guys, full transparency. The dumbbell chest fly exercise has got to be one of my least favorite chest exercises, but because I'm working out at home, I'm just going with it. So for this exercise, make sure your feet are flat on the floor. Keep your glutes on the bench. Don't let them lift up. You should have a slight bend at your elbow as you bring the dumbbells down across from you. And when the dumbbells are up above you, don't let them touch each other to make sure you do not lose attention. Now remember, this is a chest exercise. Therefore, your chest should be the one initiating the movement and basically moving the weight. Focus on that mind to muscle connection versus just moving the weights and letting your arms take over. Okay, and then to finish off our push day, we're gonna do some upright rows, which will target your shoulders. One of the things to keep in mind is don't let your elbows go past your shoulder height. And when you bring the dumbbells up, you wanna bring them to around your chest level. Make sure you maintain a neutral spine. Your body might want to slightly lean forward, but make sure you're standing upright. Okay, now it's Tuesday and I did a leg day, hamstring focused. I did this early in the morning because I had something later on that evening after work, and so I kind of just wanted to get my workout done, and my sister did join me. However, my energy was not the greatest because I was still half asleep, but it was still a good workout, so that's what's important. Again, we're gonna start with some dynamic warm-up stretches to get our heart rate going, to get our muscles prepared, and basically just prepare mentally for this workout. My leg day warm-ups do take a little bit longer than my upper body, just because I tend to get sore more frequently lower body versus upper body, so I do like to get a good warm-up in to avoid feeling sore after my workout. We're going to start our workout off with sumo deadlifts. I prefer to do sumo deadlifts, but if you prefer the conventional style of deadlifting, go for it. Do what works best for you. So you're going to walk up to the bar. You need a wide stance with your feet pointing outwards towards the plates. Pointing your toes out will help move your knees and your shins out of the path of the bar as you lower the bar down. Next, you'll want to drop your hips. This means your hips are going to be lower than what you might be used to, but you want to make sure that your spine is neutral, therefore your hips have to be low. But keep in mind that if you drop too deep, your back will begin to round, and we do not want that. You can hold the bar with a mixed grip like I have it, or with an overhand grip. Next, you want to bring your shoulders down and back away from your ears. You want to move your shoulder blades towards each other. I like to pretend that you have like a little tennis ball or something in your armpits and you don't want them to fall out. Your chest should be open and facing forward. Your neck should be in line with your spine. Don't look at the ceiling, don't look at the floor. It should be in line with your spine. And then as you begin the lift, the bar and your hips should move at the same time. So visualize yourself pushing the floor away with your feet. And as you raise the bar up into a full range of motion, but don't overextend your back. You don't want to have an aggressive lean back. And then once you stand fully upright with your knees and hips locked out, you've successfully deadlifted, but still keep control of the movement as you bring the weight back down. All right, next up is going to be a dumbbell Romanian deadlift. What you want to do is stand with your feet shoulder width apart. When you're holding the dumbbells, your hands should be facing your thighs. To initiate the movement, you want to hinge at your hips. What this means is as the weights are moving down, touching your shins, you're going to push your glutes back towards the back wall. That's hinging at the hips. Make sure you don't round your back. To not round your backs before you initiate the movement, you want to make sure that you bring your shoulder blades together. So you're going to push your shoulders down away from your ears and back, bringing your shoulder blades together. Lower the weights down towards the floor until you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. That's the back side of your thighs. And as you're bending down, make sure you keep your spine neutral. So keep your eyes looking towards the floor as you begin to bend down. And you also don't want to bend your knees too much. You should have a slight bend, but don't bend them too much. And don't lock them out as you stand up. I would really recommend that if you're not very familiar with hinging at the hips, that you practice hinging, practice this movement, because a lot of the lifts, a lot of the workouts do require this type of movement. So the more practice you have, the better. Okay, and then we are going to be supersetting the next two exercises, meaning you're going to do them back to back, one set of each without resting. Once you finish the set of the second exercise, then you'll rest. So the first exercise is going to be a stiff leg kettlebell Romanian deadlift. So very similar to the one we just did, but you're going to be using a kettlebell. In my case, my kettlebell doesn't go up to a good enough weight, so I'm just going to use my 30-pound dumbbell and hold it with the weight side up. Keep just a slight bend at the knee. You're not going to bend it as much as with the previous exercise, and you're going to do the same hinge movement. I like to keep the dumbbell or the kettlebell directly underneath my hips, so kind of in between my legs as I start to lower the weight. Keep a constant tension on your hamstrings and your glutes. And as you stand back up, again, keep the constant tension. You're going to push through with your heels. I actually love this variation of a Romanian deadlift. I prefer it over the dumbbell version or the barbell version, but test these out. Let me know what you think. And like I said, this is going to be a superset. So this is the second exercise of the superset. It's going to be a dumbbell reverse lunge. So as you take a step back, make sure that the foot that you step back with isn't directly behind your front foot. You kind of want them to be on their own track. Think of skis. Each foot is on its own ski, same as the reverse lunge. Your feet are going to be on its own track. So when you step back, make sure that foot that you're stepping back with is in its own track and not directly behind the front foot. You want to take a moderate step back, so not too far back where your front foot is uncomfortable or you're putting too much pressure on your knee, and not too close to your front foot where you're not even really getting a good range of motion. Once the knee of the back foot almost touches the ground, you can stand back up, leading with your front foot. Your front foot is the one that you're working with for this exercise, so that's where you should be putting the most effort, with your front foot. And the last exercise of the day is going to be a medicine ball hamstring curl. Now, I use a medicine ball because that's what I have available. I do have sliders, but because of the rubber mats we have in the gym, I really wouldn't be able to slide them. So if you have sliders or you have a medicine ball, it really depends on what type of floor you're doing this exercise on. You can also use paper plates, a towel, use whatever you have available. But basically, you'll place your feet on top of whatever it is that you're going to be using. You're going to be pulling the bottom of your feet close to your glutes, but you want to make sure that you're using your hamstrings. This exercise targets the hamstrings. So that's the muscle group that you should be using to move basically the bottom of your feet towards your glutes, your hamstrings. You want your hips up off the ground as you're doing the exercise. Make sure that your core is contracted. Don't use your hands to help you perform the movement.
Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's workout. It was a leg day hamstring focused. I will see you guys in tomorrow's workout. Okay, we're not doing that again.
We are going to start pull day with one of my favorite back exercises, the bent over barbell row. Again, we are going to be starting with a compound movement. For this one, you are going to perform the hip hinge movement, which if you remember in yesterday's workout, I mentioned that this is a movement that you do in a lot of exercises like this one. So remember, as you bend down, you're gonna push your glutes to the back wall while maintaining your back flat. And think of bringing the barbell towards your hips versus directly straight up towards your chest. Also, now that I'm looking back at this footage, this is one of those moments where you're gonna do as I say, not as I do. My tempo this day looks like it was a little too fast. So you really want to slow it down just a bit compared to what I'm doing here. So remember, do as I say, not as I do. From there, we're gonna move into a lat pull down. Now I want you guys to look closely at what I do before I pull down the bar. You wanna bring your shoulders down away from your ears. And once you do that, you also want to retract your shoulder blades. So you're gonna, in a way, bring your shoulder blades together before you initiate the movement. Now keep this in mind as you perform the exercise. This is a very important thing that I notice not a lot of people do. If you really want to target your back properly, make sure you're retracting your your shoulder blades before you initiate the movement. You're also going to inhale, contract your core. You're going to bring the bar down to about chin level. And you can do a slight lean back, but not too much. Make sure that you keep your spine neutral and don't arch your lower back. Your glutes should remain on the bench at all times with feet on the ground. If you feel like your glutes are lifting up, the weight might be a little bit too heavy. Now, because I don't have an actual seated cable machine, I am sitting on the ground. But for seated cable rows, you want to make sure you get a full range of motion. So I like to bend forward, and you're gonna feel the stretch in your back. You should feel it along your lats. And then you're gonna pull your elbows in towards your sides. You should have a slight lean back, but not too aggressively. Again, you just want to feel a stretch in your back as you lean forward. As you pull your elbows towards your side, you want to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Hold for a second before releasing and leaning forward again. Now this exercise, we will be supersetting it with the next one. So the first exercise of this superset is going to be a one-arm dumbbell row. So you want to place one knee and the same arm on that side on a bench. Now, it's not going to make your glutes look good, but you want to keep your back flat. I always see people with an arched back, which then makes their glutes look better, but we're trying to get stronger, we're trying to build muscle, so let's focus on that. So you want to keep your back flat, and when you bring the dumbbell down, you can lean slightly down, as you can see me doing, and then you're going to bring the dumbbell back up till your upper arm is in line with your torso, and try and bring that shoulder blade towards your spine. Focus on the mind to muscle connection. And the second exercise in this superset is going to be a hammer curl. So you want your elbows at your sides. That's where they should remain the entire time. Your upper arm should not move. You want your palms facing each other or facing towards your body. And you're just going to curl the dumbbell up where the weight number is indicated. It's going to face the ceiling. So your palms should remain facing each other the entire time. Remember, do not use momentum. If you're moving your entire body, chances are the weight is probably too heavy for you. So lower the weight. Don't use momentum. Don't use your upper arm. Your upper arm should remain stationary. And our last exercise for our pull day is going to be an incline dumbbell curl. You want to adjust the bench to about a 45 to 60 degree incline, and then you'll just sit with your back on the bench, feet firm on the ground, and you want to keep your upper arm at your sides the entire time. And when you curl the dumbbell, don't bring your arm forward and up. Keep that upper arm stationary, and you'll just curl the dumbbell with your palms facing up until it almost touches your chest. Make sure you keep your core contracted the entire time. All right, welcome to day 4 of our week of workouts. Today we are going to be training shoulders and glutes. So this is typically my last actual workout of the week. I do it on Fridays. My goal this year was to increase muscle size in my shoulders and my glutes. I have been targeting them twice a week. And as you know by now, we're going to start with some dynamic stretching. Make sure you spend some good time stretching your body. After this whole week of working out, your body is probably tired, your body is probably sore, so make sure you give it enough time to warm up for today's workout. So once you're done warming up, let's get started with the workout. Okay, today we are going to start with front squats. So it's basically the opposite of a back squat. So in this case, you're going to hold the bar in front of you. I hold it using my 2 fingers and the bar resting kind of across my collarbone. Another way that you can do it, crossing your arms on your shoulders, so opposite hand on opposite shoulder, and then just holding the bar underneath it, resting on your collarbone. The fact that the bar is on your collarbone does feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it shouldn't make you feel like you're choking yourself with the bar. So have it directly like above your collarbone. And you want to keep your body upright as you descend. Pay attention to your form because you want your back flat. You want to remain at the most upright as you can. If you're holding the bar like I am, keep your elbows pointing forward. I've noticed that when I start increasing the weight, my elbows, when I descend, start to point down, but you want them to always point towards the wall in front of you. Really practice on your wrist mobility, your ankle mobility, and with proper warm-up to kind of help with your form for this exercise. I do love the front squat though, maybe more than the back squat. Now you might be thinking, okay, Sandra, why are you doing a squat if you're trying to target your glutes? Both the front and the back squat will target your glutes. It'll target your hamstrings, your quads. But honestly, I just like doing front squats, which is why I added it to my 5th day, since I do squat on my first leg day of the week. But also, honestly, I hate doing hip thrusts. I haven't been doing hip thrusts in like maybe 10 months or so, just because I hate doing the setup of a hip thrust. I hate adding the plates. And then obviously the heavier you can go, the more plates that means. And so I hate setting up for a hip thrust, honestly, to I just hate it. So instead of adding a hip thrust to my last day, I added a front squat. I like front squats. They target your lower body, which in my case is what I want to grow. So I'm going to do a front squat. If you specifically want to target your glutes, a hip thrust might be the better option, so go for it. But I encourage you to try a front squat. Front squats are a great compound exercise that targets your entire lower body. Again, like I said, it will require a little bit more flexibility in your wrists, your hips, your ankles. So keep that in mind. And it will cause you to go a little bit lighter in your front squat than your back squat. So also keep that in mind. If it's for your first time doing a front squat, don't just load it up with the normal weight that you use for a back squat. Start low and then continue to go up as you perfect and improve your form.
Okay, so I kind of wanted to go over the next exercise a little bit because I might not have enough time when I'm doing the voiceover, so I'm gonna do step-ups, no weight or anything, just body weight. And I added them recently to today's workout or my Friday workout routine. So I'm still trying to get my form down and basically get better at it before adding any weight. The first time I did it, I did add weight and I was like, no, I need to get better at this. In the next clips, I'll probably show you like what not to do, followed by like the actual workout, and I'll lay it out on the voiceover. I just kind of wanted to go over it here right now.
One of the first mistakes I see people do is just stepping up without really paying attention to their form or actually putting any thought behind the movement they're doing, just going through the motions. So make sure you're not doing this. The thing with step-ups that you have to keep in mind is that the leg that's on the platform, the leg that's on the bench, or whatever it is that you're standing on, is the leg that you need to focus on. The other leg is just there for balance and to kind of help guide you, but the front leg is the one that you want to put all your emphasis in. You want to have a slight lean forward as you descend. When your foot touches the floor, using the top leg, so the leg that's on the bench or the platform, you're going to push yourself back up. So use that leg to push yourself back up. Again, the back leg is just there to kind of help you balance. And the moment that you feel it touch, you're gonna come back up. But keep in mind that you need to have slow and controlled movements. You don't want to just touch the ground and bounce back up or use momentum to get you back up. You're using that front leg. You can hold on to something like I am here. You don't want to use that to help push you back up or down. Now, I will say that if your gym has a flat, sturdy platform or something you can use versus a padded bench, it will be easier because you'll have more stability. So look for that versus a padded bench like I do here. The last leg exercise for this day is gonna be a B stance RDL. So if you take a look at my legs, my foot placement, you'll see that I have kind of a staggered stance. That's what's known as the B stance, which is where the working leg bears the majority of the weight and it does the movement. Basically, the other leg, the back leg, is just gonna be there for support, for stability, to help you maintain your balance. So in this case, we're just gonna do a normal RDL, but you basically want to keep constant tension on that working leg, so the front leg. Make sure that you do a good hip hinge movement here. Again, you're gonna, as you bend down, you're gonna push your glutes to the back wall. You want to keep that dumbbell close to your shins. Like I mentioned, this is very similar to just your typical Romanian deadlift, but this will have your knee bent a little bit more because we are trying to target the glutes, and you're gonna maintain that constant tension on that front leg throughout the entire movement. So remember, as you stand up, you don't want to fully stand up. You don't want to fully extend your legs. You'll have a slight bend still before you start to descend again. And as we move into our shoulder exercises, we're gonna start with a leaning lateral raise. You want your feet basically right next to whatever sturdy equipment you're gonna be using, and grab onto one hand, fully extend that arm. And so you're gonna see as you can tell here in the video, my body is kind of slanted where my head is farther away from the squat rack compared to my feet. That's your starting position. You're gonna hold the dumbbell with your other hand with your palms facing down, and you're just gonna do a normal lateral raise. Keep in mind, because you are using one arm only and you're really fighting against gravity here, you might want to reduce the weight that you use for it. And same as with a lateral raise, don't use momentum. Your body should remain stationary. The only thing you want moving is that arm with the dumbbell, and focus on that mind to muscle connection with your shoulder to make sure it's your shoulder, the one that's moving the weight. The next exercise is going to be a front lateral raise. So this is going to target your shoulders, it's going to target your traps a little bit more. But again, don't use momentum as you lift the dumbbells up. Keep your body stationary. Only your arms should be moving. Palms should be facing down throughout this movement. Really engage and contract your core throughout this movement to help stabilize yourself and to prevent further momentum. Once the dumbbells are at about shoulder height, you can lower them back down. And the last two exercises are going to be supersets. The first exercise in the superset is going to be a tricep push down. So you're going to adjust the cable machine to the highest level, and you can add either a straight bar, you can add a rope if your gym has one, whichever one you prefer. In my case, I just use a straight bar. You want to keep your elbows close to your body as you lift your arms back up. And then as you begin to push the bar down, or whether it's the rope, really focus on using your triceps, because that's the muscle group we're trying to target with this exercise, your tricep. As you push the bar or the rope down, contract your tricep and focus on using your triceps to move the bar or the rope down. I guess this day I decided to do an ab exercise at the end, which is why I superset it. So the second exercise in the superset is going to be a hanging leg raise. This is an ab exercise, so make sure your abs are properly engaged and contracted throughout this entire movement. So again, you're going to inhale in through your belly. You don't want just your chest to fill up with air, you want your belly to fill up with air as well. You're going to tighten your core, tighten your stomach. Imagine someone's trying to hurt you, someone's trying to punch you in the stomach. What would you do? You would probably brace and tighten your stomach for it. That's what you would do here. If you're just going through the motions, you're not even targeting your abs really, and you're just wasting time. So make sure your abs are fully contracted through the entire movement. Even if that means that you need to stop, reset, and then go, that's totally okay. I do that all the time.
That wraps up today's workout. I will wrap up today's video here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video week of workouts. I had a lot of fun recording it. It just felt nice, like as if you guys were here hanging out with me. If you guys give these workouts a try, let me know. Like I said, this is typically what my workouts look like, what they have been for the last several weeks. This was my first time creating this type of video, but as someone who's always on YouTube, people that I subscribe to have these kinds of videos all the time, and I personally enjoy them. So I thought maybe I could create one and see if you guys like it. If you do, please let me know in the comments so that I can be aware and keep making videos like this. Maybe not so often, because like I said, my workouts won't change that much. But that's a wrap for today. I will catch you guys in the next video.